Okay, so
You cannot
welcome
see that.
everyone.
Yeah.
My name is Colin McLean. Those who do not know me, I have a love of two things, that's food and community. And the people on our panel are exactly in those fields of food and community. So this webinar today is going to start right now at 7 p.m. And it's all about what 2025 taught us, building smarter, stronger food systems in 2026. Okay, so we're going to do a comparison, what we did right, what we maybe had challenges with, and how we could do better in 2026. So it's 1 hour, no fluff, panel discussion. Our cultural leaders on the call, and they're going to actually say what worked for them, what didn't. And it's not like a highlight reel, it's having strong conversations, okay? So if you're all ready, give me a thumbs up and we can start progressing, okay? Great, phenomenal. So I couldn't do this without our esteemed guests, and here they are. So first, I'd like to introduce Sarah. Now, Sarah Sekalala, you've been our inspiration, you've been our cheerleader, our champion, and you've been supporting us. We loved your energy, keep bringing it. And what's interesting about Sarah is the founder of Siika Foods, and she's created preservatives-free African sauces rooted in tradition, crafted for modern living. And it's inspired by her upbringing in Uganda. And Sarah creates small batches of vegan, gluten-free sauces, celebrating African culture while bringing people together through flavor. So welcome, Sarah. Do you want to say a quick few words to our esteemed guests and panelists?
Thank you, Colin, for that beautiful introduction. I am always so feeling vibrant in this community. I heard about Fred from Foodpreneur Lab, and I remember well the whole commotion of launching it in Ottawa, and it was such an exciting thing. The thing about it is that in a few months, just attending a few sessions with Fred, I just felt I needed to be in this group. But also, you guys are always just pushing us ahead and cheering us on. I'm happy to be here, so I'm excited for Fred.
Thank you. We believe in all of you, so thank you. So the next esteemed panelist is Emmanuel Fondi. Emmanuel, if I could clone your brain, I'd be a billionaire. Seriously, you've got so much information, and I love that about you. So Emmanuel, here's a bit of background. So Emmanuel is a professional agronomist and the president of founder of Green Focus Farms and Terra Bantu. He leads Canada's first vertical aligned brand of African specialty vegetables, bridging tropical as well with Canadian farming to build a resilient seed to table food system focused on quality, traceability, and food security. Love the work you're doing, and you're definitely an inspiration to all of us. You want to say a quick hello to our guests and panelists?
Thank you, Colin, and I want to thank everyone who has made an effort to join us today. I think Fred is doing a wonderful job. That is that of bringing us as a community together, that coordination, that communication. And I've had the experience of trying to build something alone. It is lonely in the wilderness. So
yeah,
the job that Fred is doing, it is laudable. And I think as a community, we are definitely going to be able to do it well. And Fred is doing such a great job. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. So the next is
we have Chadwick.
Chadwick's here. Good, phenomenal. So Chadwick, I first met you at our lunch in May in Ottawa, and something about you really stood out. I love your passion and your caring for farming. And then watching your videos, like I'm actually inspired to, eventually get my own farm, when things pick up and everything, because I really believe the work that you're doing, all of you are doing out there, is making a difference. And you can't rely on exports all the time, but when you can actually grow, I see you, when you're working, it said you got this kind of a passion and you're part of the earth. So Chadwick Lewis. Chadwick is an Ottawa-based farmer of African Caribbean descent, originally from St. Lucia, with roots in family farming. He is committed to sustainable agriculture, youth mentorship, and improving access and opportunities for BIPOC communities within the farming sector. So you're planting the seeds, not just for growing food, but seeds for our future leaders. So we thank you for that. Chadwick, do you want to chime in and say a few words to our esteemed colleagues and guests here?
Yes, hi, thank you for having me, Colin and Claudius. Thank you. I feel a little bit, like with esteemed people like Emmanuel and Sarah and Mel, I kind of feel like, maybe I'm a little out of my depth there, but
no, man, you're not. No, man, you're a king.
And yeah, I mean, I really have a passion for what I do, and I do it not just for myself, but I think about it from a point of empowering our people, and so that's why I do what I do. So I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight. Thank you.
Beautiful, phenomenal, and Mel.
Chadwick, you feed us.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Important.
Now on to Mel. Now Mel, I'm just meeting you for the first time, and when I read your bio, I was like, this guy's exactly, I got to connect with him because I love the work that you're doing, Mel, with the employment side, because I find that a lot of us are not looking at the employment aspect of farming, and the youth are being lost, and they're not being shown opportunities of where they can actually start growing their future, no pun intended. Now, Melwyn Dcosta. Mel is a senior projects consultant for First Work, leading workforce and skills development initiatives in agri-food and beyond. He currently manages the Digital Agri-Food Skills Development Initiative, and it's DASI, it stands for, and it brings extensive experience to employers, engagement, youth employment, and social impact programs. So you're definitely needed here on this panel because we can't just focus on just the growing. We gotta think of building a legacy of our youth, getting involved in community, and have a love for community and food. So welcome. Do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Colin and Claudius. I'm really excited to be here today because this group seems like a really special, dedicated group of visionaries in the fields you have chosen to, pursue. So for me, it's really special to be invited here today and to be able to talk a little bit about what I have done in the last 1 year for the sector. I think for us, we see one of the big challenges the sector faces is labor shortages. And I think it's really me sharing a little bit of what we've learned in the last 1 year. And for us, we focused on technical skills for the agri-food sector. So, I look forward to the discussion and, the active engagement around the table. So thanks a lot again.
Welcome. Okay, so everyone knows me. My name is Colin McLean. I'm the co-founder of my AI Pathway and Fred Marketplace, and my esteemed colleague would just not be possible without his input, his help. Claudius, do you want to take it away and introduce yourself?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be one word. No. Guys, who said it? Emmanuel said it. Trying to start and do it by yourself is a waste of time. So starting this project right at the outset, I've known Colin many years. I nabbed him and said, come, I don't know how to sell it to you, but come, come, let's go. And it's made a big difference. And the one thing I can also say is I'm very proud to announce that we're also now beginning to expand our executive team. Hopefully by the next presentations we do, you will actually get to see more people, because we are putting our foot on the pedal 2026 to turn it our year of harvest. So for example, if I can give a vision to where we're heading with this, this style, this is the first time we're doing this panel discussion style of presentation. We aim to do it. We're going to be doing it every quarter. So because we want this to be more an education type of conversation and openness, awareness, provocative, let people be aware. Ultimately, we want to be able to bring in policy, those responsible for policy making, to be aware of the needs of the community, of the needs of the industry, of the needs of the sector. Our goal in Fred is clicks, but before we can get to clicks, we need activities and actions going on. We need to expand the market, and that's what we're working towards. So that's my spiel as a CEO. I'm not going to take a back seat. Tonight is Colin's night. Colin is Mr. Operations. Thank you, Colin.
No worries. Now, as I always say, with every great opportunity in life, it all starts the conversation, and this is exactly what we're having today. So, Claudia, if you could just watch the chat, and if you'd also time the our speakers, okay?
Sure.
So, without further ado, Sarah. Okay, this is the question to Sarah. Now, in 2025, what aspect of ecosystem generally supported your business growth? And where did you experience constraints or misalignments, particularly in the area such as funding, retail access, and operational support? You've got about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Colin. Food is not an easy thing. I love how, just like Emmanuel and Claudius mentioned, you can't do this alone. So the first thing I've really known in business is to really build an ecosystem. And I am so grateful for the ecosystem. Being in Canada is really one of the privileges I'm enjoying. There are a lot of programs out there we can pick from. So one of the things I really found that has pushed me forward, given me the encouragement, we have a lot of women organizations. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention them here, but if you allow me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I've been with PARO, for example. PARO is a women organization which has really not only inspired me, but put me in a position of cheering me on, even when business is low, but they've exposed me to the point of really even having an option, an opportunity to do trade missions, which is really expanding our vision of how we want Siika Foods to go. We have Foodpreneur Lab.
They're great.
We are always in the RSC show. If you know, that's a very expensive space to be in. But every year, last year was one of them when we had really a big impact through their pavilion, which they had under the RSC show. I have the DMZ Innsfield. We have, I have Freddie. Fred, I'm already, my products are already on your Poro, and that is a good way.
Phenomenal. Thank you.
So most. But I also have to add that one of the things I've really known is to really believe in what I do. It's very competitive out there. But when you know your why and why you really have to push it, even when you get all these obstacles, for me, it's always just pushing on and just walking up. When I hear Claudius saying, Sarah, we have this, I show up, and guess what? Somebody checks you out, and then before you know it, somebody makes an order. So it's really, really showing up. So that, and personally, I feel I bring myself to the table, and I'm just like there. Yes, I'm here. I show up, whether I'm happy, whether I'm not happy, whether things are going well. So that is building me really well. When we go to constraints, those are really tough. We have a system which is built in a certain way, and I'm coming through as a business owner, a Black business owner, a woman. There are lots of challenges. There's funding. Yes, we have been lucky to have organizations like the WeWork loan program, which is supporting women businesses up to 50,000. But then we come to a level like Siika Foods, we are in the growth, but going to the scale level where we need more capital to be injected in the business. So 50,000, if I get another 50,000, it's really pushing me at the same level. But I need that initial bigger, so we need to be able to access that. The ones which are available, the grants they all have different limitations, where a small business like myself, you need to have at least 5 employees. Income or the revenue we're making, we cannot support those. So we need to see that happening a little bit better. And then retail access. Some people are still asking, do we really want this African product in this? We're finding that we need to see how we've had challenges. Okay, yes, we've been able to pitch to some retail stores, but there's always that, hesitation or that dragging you on, and we hope something can happen around that. Operational support, still the same way. So there's a lot of uneasiness about when you approach, or even sometimes knowing exactly, but going back to what has kept us growth is when you're on the LinkedIn page, for example, you always find the business or decision makers, tapping to you, because showing up the same way is the other way. But overall, I think 2025 gave us the clarity that we're doing the right thing. So I'm very excited about that. So 2025, I would say, was such a successful year to grow and push our brand around.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. Well said. So now, Chadwick, your question is, what was harder about farming or selling in 2025 that you didn't expect? Thanks for your pain.
Well, 2025 I moved farms, so
wow,
that was actually one of the bigger things. I moved the farm. I acquired this farm in 2024, but I had been farming somewhere else, and I got it middle of the season, so I did not move my operation until the next year. And even though I moved and planned to be there, it still was quite a challenge, because I didn't know what the pest pressures would be like. It was a different soil type. Even though I did my soil testing and all that, I still didn't know exactly what I would be expecting. Plus, it was a really hot year, very droughful year for farmers. I think Emmanuel may be able to attest to that. It was like, I just don't understand how it was this dry.
Yeah.
When we didn't need as much rain, we got all the rain in the world. So that was really tough. But I think what made it challenging to sell in is that because I was building out a lot of infrastructure, and I'm still building out a lot of infrastructure, I didn't get to use Fred as I wanted to. But thankfully, Claudius, and I give Claudius so much credit for that. He kept the lines of communication open. And because he's been to the farm and we're not too far away, and he comes by, he can see the progress that's happening.
Yeah.
Came there in the snow and he's seen that I'm still doing what I have a trench on the farm right now.
And then he got stuck
to the greenhouse. I'm running power and water and stuff to the greenhouse right now.
Yeah.
And the tractor's there now, and he can see that. So he knows that I didn't get to use Fred as much as I would have liked in this year, but stuff was listed, and I'm looking and I have planned it into this season a lot more, so that it will be one of my sales channels. And there's always the thing of getting into new markets. So I applied for a few new markets. I was trying to create a on-farm sort of sales operation, but that comes with its own logistics challenges, making sure you have bathroom facilities for customers, making sure this and that is so it was a lot of moving parts that obviously, while building out a new farm takes time and takes energy, but I think we did fairly well, and obviously we're still working in the winter, and no one really wants to be a farmer working in the winter unless it's inside of a greenhouse. But we have
Jamaica or St. Lucia.
Unless, exactly. There's no winter, but it is what it is, and I was happy to be. I was happy to know that Fred existed. I found out on the off chance by some young lady I met at another thing that I went to, and that I almost didn't make it. It was just like the day of that I looked at this email, and I'm like, oh. I should go. I could make it, and so I'm very thankful that I've made it and that I'm here and that I can count Fred as one of my sales channels for this year. But last year was juggling my existing sales channels, trying to add new ones, trying to build out the farm as not just a workspace, but as a retail space. Those were the challenges. And then we had the weather, which was unforgiving. We had so many extreme heat warning days, and irrigation had to be constantly on. I use city water because I don't have a well. I'm thankful I didn't have a well at this point, because a lot of my farmer friends who had wells were telling me that they had to decide what was getting water. The thing that the way it hit me was my water bill. I even got a note from the city saying, you may want to check for leaks because you're using way more water. And I had to be like, no, I am a farmer and we're going through a drought. So I'm using a lot more water than I would. And this is what's happening. But yes, that, I think on the natural side of things, the farming side of things, it was the weather, the extreme heat this year. And on the selling part, it was just all the moving parts of building out a new site and whatnot. But Fred, I mean, if Claudius and is any indication of what Fred will do for me, I mean, like, come on, it's a no-brainer because yeah, he's been very understanding. He's made it easy for me to keep abreast with what's happening and the progress. And for that reason, I definitely know that I'm 100% on board, and we've spoken about this at length. So yeah, exactly. We believe in you. We want you to succeed. So we believe that when you succeed, we all succeed. That's why we're doing the concierge service for all the farmers. So you can focus on your farm and just send us the pictures of what you're planting and growing, and we will do the rest. Okay. So I'm going to move on, but thank you for that. Informative. And then the next one is, I missed Emmanuel. Emmanuel, this is your question here. What can you put in place to facilitate access to land by immigrant farmers?
Thank you, Colin. I think it's obvious to all of us that farming here is a generational industry, like I would say. Generally move within the family. You would find farms that have gone through very many generations. So when you have, with the traditional crops that are grown here, when someone who is 25 or 30 or younger wants to get into agriculture, they're probably buying the dad out, or they're probably integrating the dad in his farm. So it's easy. The bank manager will be waiting for him at the door of the bank for him to say what he wants. It is not the same thing for immigrants. If we came here and you went to the bank, maybe with your beautiful business plan, and then you're talking about vegetables and crop kinds that they have no data, no experience about, the bank would definitely not be comfortable to be able to take that risk. So it is definitely challenging for immigrant farmers to come here and get access. Two of the most limiting factors for access to farming here for immigrants is land and the other associated infrastructures, the heavy investments that you need from the beginning in order to start farming. So I would say in order to solve the idea of access, we must think of it from, we must perceive it as from the point of view of infrastructure as a service. That is, we shouldn't be looking at land individually, like you as an individual wanting to buy land. You would need to be able to have the credit, you would need to be able to have the collateral and all of the other things. But if we had systems where we already had the land and we have the infrastructures, and then we can insert farmers easily. So individually, it's going to be difficult to achieve that. So where can we go in order to start thinking and building the systems where we could solve the problem of access to land and infrastructure, in order that a farmer could just come and then plug in a plug and play system. We'll be looking at municipalities, and we can also look at national and provincial land commissions or related national, provincial green belt property management commissions, depending on the way Canada is arranged, whether it's at federal or provincial levels. So we could be doing, the way we see this at Green Focus Farms is designing a plug and play system that instead of a new farmer spending years and millions on land and building permits, they would lease a ready-to-use capacity. This lowers the entry barrier and significantly allows them to focus on what they do best, that is producing the high-value crops that we have a market that is just waiting, just waiting for it. So if I take our own experience at Green Focus Farms, we started the first thing, like if you have like Chadwick is saying, the person who is really going to get into agriculture here, it's not just about the dollars. The money is important, but it's like the people who really love to do it before you'd really be able to survive the hurdles that we have. We're going to get into it like an immigrant farmer. So we started by, we had an opportunity to be admitted to a startup platform where they have some land, that gave us access to land, a certain volume of land, and basic starting infrastructure like a greenhouse, like an irrigation, a main irrigation system that is connected. It is connected to the power grid, and then maybe you meet some other farmers who are there, and from whom you could ask one or two questions or get that much needed mentoring and to accompany you in order to be able and go on. So to me, access to land would be, you could do it on your own, but if we really wanted to have a multiplier effect, we should be thinking of a system where we are thinking, and that's where the work that Fred is doing, facilitating, bringing us together as a community, having this conversation, identifying what is important for us all as a community. And if we wanted activity on Fred to be booming, it's also important that we create funds. We get more people providing the produce that our people need, controlling in order to be able to contribute and control our own food systems as well. So it is infrastructure as a service is one of the things. Now, how do we design it? Are we going to go in as franchising, or are we going to do partnering? There is different ways that we could do, but if we could identify a way of providing infrastructure as a service, it facilitates access to land and the basic infrastructure that you need. And then you have a plug and play so that the person coming in would now mobilize, but running capital, and then they can start the farm. Marketing is already being provided by Fred. And you would have mentoring because we are in the network where we are today. You could visit Chadwick and he'll be able to tell you some things. You could come to me. If we build that as a community, it would facilitate it. Otherwise, you could also go individually, but raising the capital for the investment is
good. Thank you for that. So
thanks, Emmanuel.
Thank you for that. Mel, you're up. I know you've waited patiently. Now it's your turn. So what were the biggest lessons learned from preparing agri-food job seekers in 2025?
Thank you very much. I just want to preface this with just giving the panel and the group a little bit of what this program is about. And at the start of 2025, we were funded by the federal government to pilot an upskilling or a skills development program to prepare job seekers in 2 regions. And so this program that I'm talking about is being implemented in Southwest Ontario. So that's in Leamington, Essex, and then in Eastern Ontario and Brockville. So for some of you thinking, where is the program? These are two, and it's currently just in a pilot stage. So we've trained around 50 job seekers, and the program focuses really on the trend of the extensive amount of automation and digital tools that are being adopted within the sector. So, I know that, just the panel members yourselves would have operated with, automation, with digital technologies. What we've seen, and, it's been identified that there is a high shortage of workers with the technical skills to even take on these jobs and roles from the founders and the main operators. And so, with a high level of employees retiring, with shortages of labor, the entire need to make sure that the digital technology and the automation you have is actually run for the production on your farm or in your manufacturing. So it is an 8-week program where they explore agri-tech roles. Their job seekers are given the awareness of how they might be able to enter the field, awareness of what skills they can develop, awareness of, we've trained them to be service automation technicians, quality control technicians, greenhouse technicians, and food equipment service technicians. So there are 4 occupation clusters that we've sort of identified to support job seekers in these areas. So it's an 8-week program, and the key thing is it is built around the needs of employers. So right from the design stage, employers have been engaged. We've asked them around their needs, around what type of challenges they face, and we've developed this 8-week program. And the participants also get on-the-ground experience. And I want to say that I think our partners in Leamington, Essex have worked with your organization too, through Ripen. So
good.
That's how our lines have crossed. So I'm really happy to be here. Coming down to the learning, I think one of the big things, and it was more like a surprise, because there is a tendency to see that, yes, there's a high level of job shortage, labor shortages for the sector, but we've also seen in delivering the program that there are a lot of eager job seekers that are interested in the sector. I think that is one big learning there. And so for us, it was, while they're interested, there are many barriers. So they do find, and I think knowledge and awareness of how large and how broad the sector is, and how whatever they've done in the past, how can they use their skills? So I think, being able to, let's say, know that they were a machine or worked in a garage or an automobile outlet, but now without a job, they begin to get an understanding of how they might be able to use their skill, their technical skill.
Transferable skills.
Within the sector, yes. And then it's also working with newcomers to the country. They've done a lot of excellent work internationally. And so for us, it's beginning to map for them how they can use these skills. And so many of these newcomers have been really very happy with, being able to reconnect with what they've done in their home country.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes. So that's some of the big key learnings. And I think it's just the perception of the sector changes when they get knowledge of the fact that they can actually enter the sector and they can even advance in the sector, because there is a need for technical skills by the operators and the many businesses in the sector.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've got a background in recruitment, and I love when you say that you see what the employer needs first, and then you try to make the match, because quite often when you're doing recruitment, they just try to shove people in roles and they're not really suited and the skills aren't really matched up properly. And then the end result is the person doesn't stay with the company or they move on or they get let go. So well done on that. Okay. So I'm going to move on. Thank you, Mel. That was great, informative. So next one, back to Sarah. Your question is as follows. As we look ahead, what shifts or innovations across funding models, market access, or business supports do you believe are most needed to help food business skills, sustainability, and access national and international opportunities?
Thank you for that question, Colin. I'm going to answer that from the food processing perspective.
Okay.
That's all I know. We need a lot, and I'll break it down through the funding models we have, market access models, as well as the business support we get through all that. So when it comes to the funding models, we need those that are really more realistic to food businesses. We are experiencing delays in payments. I mean, we're normally most of the vendors, the retailers are giving us 90-day payment kind of schedules. So which means your cash flow is tied up in that. So we need, if we're to get any kind of loans that are really understanding that we have seasons when people are not buying our products, or we need those who will understand that, you know what, there's going to be a trend until your brand is really like, so we need those kind of funding that can understand that this is how food business works. We are competing with really big kind of brands, and being a cultural kind of brand is even more, struggling that way. So we need where we can have that kind of funding that is designed to really help us grow and understand that we don't need a 5-year payment program. We need something which is going to be probably 10 years, but also the interest rate to be accommodating, given that we're still really just getting into the market. And then when it comes to the market access, they're really structured in a different way, especially still, again, going back to culturally rooted brands like Siika Foods. We find it hard. Right now, when I go to any stores, go to Walmart, we have all these brands going around, but then we have an international aisle. I don't know if we need an international aisle, because when you go across from the international aisle, we have all these other brands out there, but they're all literally international. We have an international that's segregating us. That is really boxing us in. What if we are all, look at how diversified the economy is in Canada. We shouldn't be in this age and era where we have, you belong here, and yet we are talking about working together as a community. So if we get rid of international aisles, then you're not going to look at me as an international aisle wondering, where should I place you? Where do you see yourself? That question should not be coming up at any level. So that will help us with our growth. Then we go to the business support we need. We have programs where I don't know how many pitches I've done out there for the get ready for investment, get ready for the other. We need more practical hands-on help, where if I am a small brand, I need to know, what do I need to do to get into or to get on that shelf? If it's all about theory, so we're getting a lot of programs there, but it stops there. We graduate, we get the certificates, we get all this, but it's not pushing us to our growth. So we need a system which can embrace and we need, I'll call it hands-on. Like, instead of the theory, we've had enough of a theory. I can join another group and still it's going to be the same pace. So we need those to be all together so that we are now all trying to get onto the same thing of seeing every small business. Everywhere you read, is the small businesses that are pushing our economy. And when it comes to food, if we're going to be onto the sustainable goals that are going to be reached by the United Nations, this is the time. And now also having the trade wars, this is a time now we should embrace it and have all Canadians, let's all come together. Let's not have international aisles. Let's not have your cultural brand. We are all here to make this work. So I think there's enough work to be done around that. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's why you're a champion, because that's exactly why we launched the Fred Marketplace app. So well done.
Thank you.
Okay, now Chadwick, your question is, what keeps you farming despite the challenges you experience?
That's a nice question. I remember when the George Floyd protests were happening in Ottawa, and everybody was downtown, and I'm like, I don't feel like that really is gonna make as much of a difference. So for me, I have a passion for it, but also it's my quiet resistance. That's how I feel. Like, you know, I look at everything that goes on around the world, and I'm like, beyond anything else, the food that they're having, providing access to good food, is a form of resistance against things that are not good. Another thing is that just doing it as a Black farmer, as a Black man doing it, is a form of positive resistance. I have 3 young boys that I want, sons that I do this for, and I want them to see this and know that they can do hard things and take on the challenges and do well. And I've worked with several young men who've worked for me, mostly of African descent, Nigerians. The most recently I had a young man from Burundi. I think Claudius met him, Charles. I've had Senegal, and I've done Chinese as well. But the goal is to be there and to be a positive support system to them, not just as the employer, but later on for them to see, yes, it's possible for us to have things too and do things too, and it's not what the media portrays. Because, and I'm not talking about the news, I'm talking about in every movie, in every music video, we're portrayed in such a negative light that everybody looks at us in that light. And for a long time, I had to learn to not try to, reduce myself and the space that I take in a room. And once I learned that, I wanted to transfer that to other people. So I do that with my work of farming. And in farming, I can share and teach so many life lessons to the young people. I can be an example to them. So that's my quiet resistance. I'm not going to lead a march. And I'm not going to go and, say this about the government, say this about this person, but I will lead by example in what I'm doing. And this is why I do it, because if I can do it, then any of them can do what they need to do, and they can believe they have an example. And that's the truth, the honest truth in my heart. That's why I do what I do.
Beautiful. We're so connected. That's exactly how I believe. I believe, our words, our actions speak louder than our words, and our why determines our try, So well done on you. Don't ever change. Okay, Chadwick? So now, Emmanuel, your question is, what would you do to have a robust lobby system to facilitate access to grants, funding for immigrant farmers? This is so key. What would you do?
Thank you, Colin. That's a very important a question. The saying in French that l'argent c'est le nerf de la guerre. I think we all here face the challenge of how do we finance. I've been listening to Sarah. If you ask Chadwick, all of us, funding, even when you have used the passion to build the groundwork, like construct, develop the product, develop some initial distribution channels, your next logical step is scaling, and then we face the challenge. So I've been listening with a lot of admiration on the way Sarah's been putting this, because it's like we're facing exactly the same troubles. In developing Green Focus Farms for the past 5 years, we are exactly where we have a mastery of how to grow it, how to source the seeds, how to do all of this. We actually have the recipe put together, but now we need to hit the road and expand. I think that we really need a shift from individual competition to collective power.
I love that.
We are working in silos, and I think we have to move from the I to the we. We need to build a unified ethnic agricultural coalition. And that's why I still say what Fred is doing is good. Bringing us together is so important. We can't survive alone.
No.
The government responds to scale and stability. If you come as an individual, okay, you'll just be another guy who is looking for something. But if you come as a community, as a group, it changes the perception.
Exactly.
So, we need to shift the narrative from referring to our products as niche products and work towards framing the perception to see our products as providing solutions. For example, solutions to import substitution. Instead of looking at these products as a niche product, but we are actually providing solutions to import substitutions, to carbon banking, job and wealth creation. So we need to really shift this narrative and not say it's a niche product, it's about community gardens, it's just about some exotic taste. It goes beyond that. We have ourselves. We eat every day. We look at the way our house budgets explode. Some 5-6 years back, I used to just go to the store and buy, and I never really checked. I don't know the price of anything.
Yeah.
Today, the food budget is exploding. And plus, even when you spend that much, are you really eating what you want? Are you eating the quality? Are you getting proper nourishment, or are you getting some plastic food? So we need to show the government that we are actually, because we are doing import substitution, carbon banking, creating wealth, we are keeping millions of dollars in the Canadian community. So we could think about joint grant framework. How do we come together, 1, 2, 3, as a community, maybe identify our common challenges and build this as a bigger project, and where we have backing as a community.
Okay, that's good.
I really see Fred facilitating this going forward by continuing with the coordination that they are already doing. And then let's say if any one of us is looking for a grant, if you have a letter of support from Fred, if you have a letter of support from Green Focus, it adds to the credibility that towards whoever you are applying for a loan or for grants, by showing that you belong to a system that is bigger than just you. Okay. So I think what we need to change in the way we are looking for funding and grants is to move from the I to the we. And then as a community, we'll be able to whenever there is a funding that hits the road for one person, it is hitting the road, it is contributing to our community objective. We start perceiving from that, we are supporting each other, we are providing the letter of support or references and whatever it's needed, or thinking of even coming together and saying, maybe we can create the vertical integration. Sarah is processing, I'm producing. I don't know what Sarah is putting in her sources, but maybe I do grow everything she needs, and I might be able to provide the quality she wants at the price she wants, and all of that. So there is some vertical integration. We can think about this.
Okay, together. That's good. So I'm going to stop you there because I have to move on. But great insight. And I think what you just said reminds me of the African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Okay, so we're going to transition over to Mel. Okay, so Mel,
Yeah,
your
Colin, can I
question.
just sorry, Colin,
Yeah.
can I just interject? Just for context, I think the program was scheduled for an extra half hour because it was a panel conversation. So just bear that in mind. But I wanted to just back up on what Emmanuel just said. We are working on a project right now with jointly with Niagara Falls University, and also with organization that First work with South Essex Community College. The project is that they're looking at, they're putting together crops and vegetables that are currently imported into Canada, and then to make a determination of how many of that, what subset of that is already being grown that we're learning to grow, so that we can be able to develop a lens of the opportunity in terms of monetary value. So as Emmanuel mentioned, how much money is being spent on imports, and what is the opportunity if it is grown here, and with data, and the data will include the conditions under which it can grow. That data set is being put together. Okay, and I believe that some of the team members that are working on that, in fact, are online. So
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, so sorry, I wanted to just chime that in since Emmanuel mentioned.
So everyone, if we're open to this, we'll just move on, but we'll may go over a little bit over, but I want to focus on Mel. So Mel, your question was, what workforce gaps must we address in 2026 to build a stronger food system?
Absolutely. I will be really short and focused, but I just want to say to Colin and Claudius that I just want to make a comment on the previous conversations. I think the two things I picked up, one is to Chadwick. I think, your reason for farming really touched my heart. It was really so heartening to hear your reasons. It was poetry and philosophy, and it's just your personal motivation and the person you are. So I really feel so good to have heard you talk in that way. And so thanks for that. And to Emmanuel, I think your idea of the coalition, I think that really gets recognized by government and by funders. They don't like to see private sector folks there getting funding. I think they'll want to see it going through coalitions and associations and not-for-profits. But that's for another day and another conversation. So I just want to come back to workforce gaps. And I think what we've seen are essentially four things happening. And you might see this in different ways in your operating business. One is, of course, labor shortages. And so we pretty much especially see it in primary agriculture and processing. In a way, I feel I'm talking to the converted already. So I'm sure you and your colleagues might face this in different ways. It is said that over 20,000 unfilled jobs annually for the sector in Ontario. So for us, we're really looking at technical skills as the key element that we want to sort of focus on. The other big gap is the aging domestic workforce. And I think the numbers are pretty staggering. Over 60% are over 55 years, 55 to 60. And so, that is another big, should we say, I'd say characteristic at this point in time. There's rising retirement, and so therefore all the skill and all the knowledge suddenly comes down to the operation needing to train and get someone to that level. So there's a high level of retirement happening within the sector. And yes, of course, we do know that there's a heavy dependence on temporary foreign workers, which really makes it highly dependent on what the government immigration policies are. So I'd say those are the four things that we see essentially in terms of workforce gaps that need to be addressed. So back to you, Colin.
Okay, beautiful. Well said. Thank you for that. So next one is Sarah. So in 2026, what does a good year look like for you?
Thank you, Colin. Most of this we've mentioned. However, as Siika Foods, one of our major thing we're focusing on after seeing what we built in 2025 is really focusing on systems. We want to see ourselves, hooking up on with AI, making sure we utilize the best way that we possibly can to integrate our business into that. We want to see ourselves really pitching out there to stores. So there's a goal set out to be in at least 200 stores if it's possible. So just pushing it out there, anybody on this call. But
you don't say it's going to happen, right? You got to say it, speak it.
We want to see ourselves, because one thing I've noticed is that we are not only inspiring ourselves, but we're inspiring even those who are scared to get into the system. It is not easy to start a brand or to get into certain spaces which have been designed for other folks. So getting ourselves out there, we want to see a good year where we can stand up and say, hey, we've made it to this level, and we want to bring in others to get ourselves into the space of food processing, because it is possible. So we are seeing bigger revenues. We're seeing ourselves into offices and spaces where we can access what hasn't been available before because of the confidence we're building in this business. So 2026 is our year.
Love it. I love it. Exactly. Okay. So Chadwick, this question's for you. Now, going into 2026, what do you want to do more of if the right support was there?
I think I would have to say more season extension. To allow me to really focus on more of our African and Caribbean crops. Like most of these crops are longer crops. And so, yeah, if the support is there and all the stars align and everything wants to go the way I would like it to, I would like to do more season extension, more greenhouses, more tunnel setups, so I can produce experimental things that are more near and dear to our hearts, like the yams, the cassavas. I know some people are doing it outside, but I want to be able to really not have to say, oh, you know what, I need to get it out at this time because of whatever. I want to get it in and then still be sure that it's established enough that the cold hits and I can still survive it and pull out the crop, do some sorrel and actually have fresh sorrel, or as hibiscus to some others, have the sorrel be ready in December, fresh December sorrel, which is what I grew up on in the Caribbean. And so this is what this would be lovely. Either way, I'm still going to try and do what I can, but this would be lovely if that was the case, to really delve into that.
Beautiful, amazing. Thank you.
I want my yam in February, straight from the from the
yes,
farm.
Exactly. I know Claudius will like that.
Okay, so Emmanuel, what can be done to cut off or reduce the 5-year learning phase of new farmers and permits them to obtain, profit levels much faster?
Thank you, Colin. And the 5-year benchmark that you choose, it's not random. It is the average point where it's generally considered that if you survive beyond that, probably you've been able to build a system, so it might likely survive as a company. The 5-year learning curve is usually where the most capital is lost. The motivation where you went in with, and all of what you could mobilize as a private person, you've maybe maxed out your credit lines and everything. You burn up the credit cards in order to be able to develop your idea and build it into something that maybe is working. So that is also where you dig the grave for your young company during that period. I would say so. We've definitely gone through all of that as well, and any other person who's tried creating something from scratch would know what I'm talking about. The time where you get it to go through could vary from one person to the other. So at Green Focus Farms, we spent this past 5 years documenting every failure, every success, building a blueprint, including the 2025 record spring cold, dry summer, and high pest prevalence. I think Chadwick mentioned that it was a horrible year last year, but we survived it anyway, and we learned a lot from that survival. I think we became even more resilient. In order to reduce the 5-year learning phase curve, we need to think of different ways of doing it. So we have had thoughts of franchising. We have ideas on contract farming. We have ideas on training, coaching, and mentoring. So those are different ways where we want to make sure that we give a chance to the person who is hopping in to not have to try to reinvent the wheel all over. I can bet you that if it's in farming, if you get into it, you're going to have to go through that 5 years, and you would be failing because you're simply going across the same challenges that we have gone through. So what we did differently is that we had spent most of this time, profitability is good, but we really focused on building a scalable system. We really focused on the data, focused on executing. We've grown more than 20 short cycle tropical crops. We have the SOPs. We've done some. We know the pests. We know the varieties. We've optimized climate control protocols, and we have also learned through that to build the distribution networks, which is how we got also in contact with Fred and all of that. So by removing the guesswork, we move the new farmer from the trial by error to profitability in a single cycle or in 2 cycles. But that is because we have developed the blueprint. So like I said, it's either moving franchising. In agriculture, franchising might sound complex because it is from the legal framework around franchising, but we have training and mentoring models that we could build and know that we can work together, and then we work, we mobilize, we sell together, we go through Fred. We could equally think of contract farming, where some could build a network where the experienced Green Focus Farms is coordinating the other people who are hopping in, and then also channeling the produce so that and then using Fred where we can have a one-stop shop to pick up all of the things. I think I'll stop there, but thank you.
That's good. Good. I like that. It's about working smarter, not harder. I love that. So, Mel, how can employers and job developers create trusted partnerships to strengthen the sector? Is your question.
So just to clarify, the government funds a lot of employment community agencies right at the grassroots level. And that role for those organizations, they're not for profit. They are funded to help newcomers, help job seekers to be trained to get back into the workforce. Now, the job developer there is really focused, and the priority is to be able to look around the community, work with employers and be able to place their trained job seekers. And I think that's where this question's coming from. How can they do a better job? And I think the one big thing I would leave as a message here to the entrepreneurs and the operators on this call is that the government provides them a lot of incentive for placement. So a lot of times we were talking of grants. Now, employment grants are provided through the community agency so that that individual, that job seeker with the right skill can be placed with employers in the community. So I think there was a question around grants, and I think there's grants around employing folks, even if it's for 3 months internships. So I want to say that reach out to the community partners around your neighborhood, in your neighborhood. They all have talent that is ready to be employed. And I think as you begin to even explore, you have many ideas around what do you do with new markets? How do you access new markets? How do you contracts? How do you work through data? And you will be surprised that some of them have done amazing quality of experience in their home country, and they're ready to sort of, be able to be productive right from day one, even if it's a 3-month internship, even if it's a learning experience. I think that interaction between employers seeing the value of that talent and job developers then collaborating with them, with employers, is what we say would be the best way for, that trust. And when you see that you're getting talent that can actually add to the value of your business, I think that you begin to trust and see you can get a lot more without even having to pay the community agencies. Very funded to give you that service. So yeah, that would be my main takeout from that particular question.
Yeah, I love that, because my background originally started in community development. I didn't work for those actually agencies you talked about the employment, community programs, newcomers. And I find that the subsidies that the government offers, those are great initiatives to hire people. So many employers can't hire people paying them the full salary, but subsidy can come in and support where you get back money from the government for hiring this person for X amount of hours. And newcomers, what makes me, I guess, upset a lot of times is newcomers have this huge skill set. They come here and then they're not given the proper jobs, or they're left unemployed. But the newcomer speaks multiple languages, so that could open up your market for employment, as well as, they're eager to work. So Canadian experience, like what exactly is that? The experience they have abroad can augment, your own workplace. So I'm definitely an advocate for hiring newcomers, the employment programs. So good on you. Keep up the good work. So now, in closing, words and thoughts. I'm just going to say it, closing thoughts or words for encouragement for our audience. Sarah, do you want to give just a minute or a minute and a half? What are your closing thoughts and words?
That's a tough one.
I know.
The world is very loud right now. There's a lot of noise out there. And for example, being in a food processing or any kind of business, sometimes you feel like you're left behind. So saying to myself, Sarah, you're not behind. And anybody out there, just understand we are not behind. We are on this, and we have to understand that businesses, especially the food businesses, they take time to grow. Because they are very real, they're complex, they're very human. So we kind of, sometimes I feel like when I'm doing business, sometimes the progress kind of looks messy, but also know that success, it will be messy before it becomes successful. So just knowing we're running that kind of race for ourselves and not being looking around thinking, oh my God, I'm left behind. And also forgetting that, when you're running a business, you can actually exhaust yourself. Sometimes I feel exhausted and I'm learning to just understand, things take time and just hanging in there. So The other one I would just push in is to build relationships. Build
Mm,
relationships
love that.
is the backbone of my business. Here I am in this room, which has been a relationship growing for less than maybe 8 months, and that is phenomenal for me. To protect our energy is so key. Sometimes, when we go on social media, I'm always some kind of overthinking, what should I post out there? Because you never know what comes for you. But protecting your energy and knowing, this is what I can read, this is what I can put in, and just knowing that I just need to focus on what moves my business, because I know once you've started, one step at a time, we'll get there. So I'm not behind, you're not behind. That's my piece. Thank you.
Love it. Love it. Okay, Emmanuel, the same question. Closing thoughts or words of encouragement for your audience?
Thank you, Colin. As words of encouragement, I would start by saying that 2025 was a perfect storm. The coldest spring, the driest summer in 5 decades.
Yeah.
But I must say that at Green Focus Farms, despite those challenges, it was a year of great expansion that we experienced in building networks, in being able to maybe get our heads off from the farm and to look broadly and to build connections. I would say to the audience that they should not do not let the learning curve or the lack of learn stop you from forging ahead. The demand for our culture's food in Canada is massive, and I think it is recession-proof. The immigrant population is growing, and by leveraging shared infrastructure, writing grants as a community, partnering with proven systems like Green Focus, we can bypass the old struggles. I think that we aren't just growing vegetables. We are building a new resilient food system for Canada.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay.
Thank you.
So, Chadwick, your question again is closing thoughts or words of encouragement for our audience.
Words of encouragement first, keep going. Start, just start. Like I cannot tell you how much further you will end up being in the long run if you just start. Make some mistakes, and in the process of making the mistakes, you will meet people that can help you make less mistakes. So you have to start, and you also have to keep going if you've already started. In addition to that, I like to weigh in on what Emmanuel has been preaching, because I definitely agree that we do need to collaborate more. We're stronger together, and I definitely agree with that. Even if in the moment we may not necessarily be able to collaborate on a specific project at this point, I believe that it's important to keep those doors open. And if we cannot actively collaborate, we must make it our priority not to actively hinder the other one when we're doing things. And we're all needed. So like every one of you who's here, we need you. Like it doesn't matter what part or what part of the industry you're in, because you may not be a farmer, but you may be a processor, you may be a marketer, whatever it is, we need all of us. It is gonna take all of us to make this happen. So yeah, we're all cogs in this machine, and we need to play our part. So it's important that we come together and do this, and we need to keep going. This is the first time, well, not the first time, but for outside of my internal beliefs, it's like the amount of times Emmanuel kept saying that we come together because it's so much better. I don't hear that very often from our people, and it's like he was reading my internal thoughts, because that's all I keep saying. I'm like, why is this guy just reading my mind?
That's why we're all on the call, because you have the same mindset as birds of feather flock together. Okay, I'm gonna move over to Mel, okay, because we gotta wrap this up. But
No
I'm going to have you all back on other webinars. So this is not the only webinar we're going to do. Okay. So the stuff you guys are imparting, it's impactful, it's great. And Mel, over to you. Closing thoughts or words of encouragement for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from the angle I'm going to come from is really the numbers, and the numbers speak for themselves in terms of the opportunity that this sector will provide, and beginning and growing in the sector. So the first thing is Ontario itself is expected to add in over 2 million residents by 2030. So that really speaks to a high level of international audiences and international consumers coming in, and a higher level of adoption of broader cultural cues and food and habits. Linked with that is another trend, and that is the demand for local and value-added local food is increasing really fast. And we've seen now the research is showing that over 75% of Ontarians say they prefer buying locally produced food when possible. And I think, that's another trend that will really work in our favor. The third thing is the food processing industry in Ontario is Ontario's largest manufacturing sector. So there are 4,000 plus food processing and beverage processors. And I think that's the amount of strength the sector has, and being part of that to be able to gain the benefits of being part of that sector. So those are my 3 thoughts to end this. Over to you, Colin.
Thank you. That's amazing. So now I was going to move over to the next one. So we'll have a 5-minute Q&A, but for those who are interested, you can scan our QR code. It's there. There's fredai.ca, or you could scan the findatfred.com. So the first one is to learn about Fred Marketplace, and you scan the code there, and the website is fredai.ca. And the next code to the far right is findatfred.com. This is the actual website or app that you can download. It's actually on Apple iStore. And this is where, if you're a seller, such as a farmer or even like a maker of food products, you could have your stuff on there, or contact us. We can help you with that. And then you could start making things happen. Okay. Open up the floor for any Q&As anyone may have.
Let us know if you're able to submit questions or by text. I'm not sure how, if it allows, because it says viewer only. So if anybody's, maybe you can put your hand up or type a message in the chat if you have a question. I'm keeping an eye out for chats.
Okay.
In the meantime, I think I wrote down some, somebody, yep, Deborah. Are you able to speak? Are you able to turn on your mic?
Oh, give her the same access to be
Okay,
here.
hold on. Let me see. Make a contributor. Okay, how about now? Yeah, okay. You're on mute.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say that this has been awesome. Thank you for all your contribution. Honestly, I think I really want to connect with Emmanuel and then Chadwick and Sarah. You guys did an awesome job and you nailed it. I'm a farmer back home, and I'm looking forward to working with you all. I didn't have to go through the stress you went through. I need a soft ground, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for putting this together, guys.
Our pleasure. This is great.
Yeah, I should make an important announcement, by the way. And also, we do send monthly newsletters on the second Monday of each month. So please, a lot goes into that. It's very informative when it comes to read it. Okay. And February 1, we're celebrating Black History Month with a very, very, very important announcement. We're showcasing Chadwick Lewis, who's obviously here and taking part, because Chadwick this year was voted vice president of the BIPOC caucus of National Farmers Union. So let's give him a big hand.
Yay, way to go. Way to go. Well done.
So people are going places right here. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any more questions? Actually, I want to ask a question aimed at Mel. Talking of programs developed for the employer's perspective. Now, the experience we have gained since getting involved in this industry is the farmer is a hands-on farmer that works with the soil on the farm. Getting them to talk is the most difficult and annoying thing. But they need to do, all businesses need administration.
Mm-hmm.
So they get access to talents, to opportunities to work on the soil.
Mm-hmm.
But they need, especially when you get into the digital space that we're offering them, they need someone who actually post-harvest on Fred, say we have this amount coming. Yes, Fred is going to be able to say, okay, once you have this soil, also, in fact, actually, we are putting this number of soil on the ground on this date. Somebody needs to put that. It will be much more efficient if there is admin support team than the farmer doing that work.
Yeah, customer service. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say that these are needs, and these are the needs only when we talk to professionals like yourself, we understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I am encouraging you, look for the Community Employment Center, Jessica from SECC in Leamington or anywhere else. They have a wide range of trained talent that can help. They can help from a project perspective. They can help from, a short internship. They can help from an employment perspective. So I would really encourage you to look at what they would have to offer with the need you have described.
Thank you.
Sounds like a future webinar we could probably do, because our webinars are the last Thursday every month. So stay tuned. We'll be sending more information out there, but just know that put in your calendars, the last Thursday every month is our webinar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another question I have, I'm putting everybody else to shame here. You need to ask questions, not just me. That's all I did. Anyone can take a stab at this. Now, a lot of government funding programs, especially since September 2018, when the announcement was made that money will be made for Black entrepreneurs. Now, what came out of that? Organizations that received the bulk of the money to help Black entrepreneurs start up, and in some cases scale. But my observation, because I'm very much following these, is that they all do the same thing. They offer learn how to do a business plan, workshop to become an entrepreneur. And it seems to me the reason for that is that the metrics for them to retain their status is to be able to report back to the government how many people they trained. What I do not see is what is the metric for, okay, 5,000 came into the system, how many, where's the actual business? Where's the actual business and the success? Where's the growth in the past 3 years of that group number that came in? What happened? What's the reality? Who can be used as a mentor to actually show where's the real data?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who wants to comment on that. This is something that I am personally following because it bothers me.
Yes, I would comment, but maybe not. I'll comment to say also firsthand, because we are also in the phase where we are looking for funding in order to be able to scale up. And I would say that what the first thoughts when that first came up, I was really thinking that it's because, like, the barriers that we have as minorities going for the bank and all of that for the standardized funding would be all of the credit checks, the collaterals, and all of that are built around that are the reasons why we can't get the funding. And I do think that when one still grows, even if one way to go, maybe through Phase Coalition, which is one of the organizations that is facilitating the entrepreneurship fund, you end up still being redirected. Your application is still redirected and managed, like with BDC, Bank of Canada. And it seems to me like the evaluation still falls back into the global analysis, and they still apply the same, almost practically the same rules that they would classically apply at banks. It's not really been able to help the community really create businesses, like the money that businesses need to operate. Maybe more in the domain of capacity building and all of that. It's my own observation as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you for that. So I'm just gonna, last slide here, we're gonna wrap it up now. And thank you for, being a part of our journey. This conversation still it won't end. It will go on, it will grow. And my last call to everyone is sign up for our Fred Marketplace and let's grow something great together. Okay? So let me stop sharing.
Yeah, and look out for a feedback survey that will be coming to everyone so that we can learn and so that we can do better. So please make an effort. I am extremely diligent at completing surveys that I receive. I attend somewhere and I receive a link to do a survey. I do it like crazy, and I give my opinion. If there's anything I don't like, I say it.
Yeah, because it's how we do better, right? Definitely need that.
Yes, so don't hold back. Please let us know. Okay?
Cool.
So thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
This
panelists.
was great.
You've been amazing.
Great. Really excited. Yeah.
How do we
Thank
top
you
this
very
now
much.
in February?
So right to everyone to say thank you very much for giving us your time. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I hope we all make connections. Okay, we need to make connections. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having us.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.